Well, as the title says, SNEZHNAYA won't be the next region we fully explore, at least not the way most of us were expecting. In this video, I'm going to break down why we'll have to wait until version 7.0 for the full SNEZHNAYA experience, and what exactly we can expect in version 6 instead. There's a lot to unpack here, from new locations to story developments, and even some surprising character updates. So the source of this info is Full Stop Chan. According to them, SNEZHNAYA's main city won't be part of 6.0. Instead, the first location we'll visit is Nodkrai, a harsh and autonomous region in the southernmost part of SNEZHNAYA. Nodkrai isn't exactly the land of opportunity that some might think. Liban described it as a rough place where people from all over Teyvat gather, but instead of being a thriving hub, it's full of danger, hostility, and shady dealings. Think of it as the Wild West of Genshin, where survival comes first, and Mora paints a target on your back. What's even more intriguing is that this area was actually hinted at during the recent live stream, where the name Nodkrai was dropped. That mention adds a lot of weight to this information and makes it highly likely that this is the direction Hoyoverse is taking. Here's where things get really interesting. SNEZHNAYA's story arc is set to be the longest yet, involving not just the region itself, but the other 6 regions we've already explored. This is a huge shift from how previous regions were introduced. Usually, the main city is the centerpiece of the region's release, serving as the hub for quests, lore, and exploration. But SNEZHNAYA? It's breaking the pattern. So what this means is that version 6 will focus on Nodkrai, an autonomous region in SNEZHNAYA, and this phase is expected to last for 1 year as usual. After that, the story will transition to the heart of SNEZHNAYA in version 7, which is also expected to span an additional year. Instead of jumping straight into the heart of the Fatui and the Tsaritsa's territory, Hoyoverse seems to be setting the stage gradually. Nodkrai will act as the starting point, and the story will escalate from there. This slow build-up might be frustrating for some, but it also suggests that SNEZHNAYA's arc is being crafted as the most complex and interconnected chapter in Genshin Impact's history. What's even more surprising is that 6.x versions will focus heavily on adding maps from other regions. Leaks suggest we'll be getting locations like Blackcliff Forge, Dortmund Port, Mare Javari, the Dandelion Sea, and even Inazuma's Purple Sea. These additions hint at a broader narrative that ties all of Teyvat together, rather than isolating SNEZHNAYA's story. There's also an info about some of the game's summer event maps becoming permanent during this period. While SNEZHNAYA's arc will be uniquely structured to span across all regions of Teyvat, it seems that Hoyoverse is making a conscious effort to keep the Fatui as central figures in this narrative. Among them, Columbina is going to play a significant role as we transition into the SNEZHNAYA storyline. According to reliable sources, Columbina will make her debut in Nodkrai during version 6.0. Nodkrai is a harsh and unregulated area in the southernmost part of SNEZHNAYA, and it's an ideal place to meet characters like Columbina, who are steeped in mystery and danger. While SNEZHNAYA's main city won't be accessible yet, this autonomous region sets the stage for us to encounter key figures and understand the broader stakes of the Archon storyline. Now, here's the part many of you have been waiting for. When will Columbina become playable? According to insider information, Columbina is set to be the next playable Fatui Harbinger after Skirk. This makes her one of the most highly anticipated characters in the lineup, especially considering her rank as the 3rd Harbinger and the sheer power she's implied to possess. Her position as a high-ranking Harbinger strongly indicates that she will be released as a 5-star character. While her exact role remains speculative, most leaks suggest she'll either be a DPS unit. Given her rumored necromancer-like abilities, there's a strong chance she'll wield a catalyst, making her a compelling addition to the roster. Let's get real for a moment. Does anyone else feel like this whole Nodkrai detour is a bit too convenient? For years now, we've been waiting for SNEZHNAYA, the final region in Genshin Impact's story. With every new update, the hype has only grown. So why are we suddenly being sent to an autonomous region instead of diving straight into the icy heart of SNEZHNAYA itself? Personally, I can't help but feel like this is a calculated move by HoYoverse to stretch out the storyline and, let's be honest, milk the game for all it's worth. By adding a region like Nodcry in between, they're effectively buying themselves more time before we reach the climax of the game's narrative. From a business perspective, it makes sense. Genshin is a massive success and they want to keep it going as long as possible. But from a player's perspective, it's a bit frustrating. Think about it. Every region we've explored so far has built up to this moment. We've been teased with Fatui Harbingers, the Tsaritsa, and SNEZHNAYA's role in Tevat's bigger picture for years. Yet here we are, detouring to a region that's technically part of SNEZHNAYA, but doesn't deliver the icy grandeur we've been waiting for. It feels like a stall tactic, plain and simple. And don't get me wrong, Nodcry sounds interesting. The idea of a harsh, unregulated region with its own conflicts and characters like Columbina is exciting. But is it what we've been waiting for? Not really. It feels like an appetizer when everyone's been promised the main course. If we look at the bigger picture, this move aligns with how HoYoverse has been handling Genshin Impact. They know the game is a cash cow, and every new update brings in waves of revenue. Adding regions like Nodcry allows them to extend the lifespan of the game without immediately moving into the final arc. And as much as I love Genshin, I can't help but wonder if this is more about profit than storytelling. Here's a thought that keeps nagging at me. What if, with all these delays and detours, we don't even get to meet the Cryo Archon in the way we're expecting? We've built up this image of the Tsaritsa as the ultimate endgame figure, but what if the storyline shifts so we won't even see her in Nordcry? While the idea of spending 2 full years in the SNEZHNAYA arc might feel like a stretch, let's look at the positives. It could actually be the most thrilling chapter we've had in Genshin Impact. Even though the main city won't be released in 6.0, there's a strong possibility we'll still encounter a lot of Harbingers and SNEZHNAYA characters. Imagine the impact of meeting Columbina, Piero, or even getting glimpses of the Tsaritsa's inner circle. One intriguing piece of information we've heard is that the Fatui Harbingers may not even be the Tsaritsa's primary military force. On top of that, we're not just limited to SNEZHNAYA. The plan to release locations like Mare Javari, Blackcliff Forge, Dandelion Sea, and Dortmund Port opens up so many possibilities. These areas could tie into ongoing narratives and bring fresh characters into the spotlight. And let's not forget the summer event maps possibly becoming permanent. This could be a game changer, offering a variety of new environments to explore. And what if we finally meet Alice? She's been teased for so long, and with SNEZHNAYA's arc stretching across all of Tevat, it feels like the perfect opportunity to bring her into the story. If done right, this extended arc could give us everything we've been hoping for. Incredible lore, exciting new characters, and a storyline that ties the entire world together. Yes, 2 years of one region is a long time, but if it's packed with content, memorable events, and emotional moments, it might just end up being the best story arc we've ever seen. What do you think? Could this be the most ambitious chapter yet? Let me know in the comments. Save up to 23% on Nouvelette and Zhongli banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.